came to a realization recently that not everybody likes my favorite film. Shocker, huh? But they can be wrong, and that's okay. I'm just kidding. Actually, maybe I'm not. I'm going to come out on a limb and say, you are wrong about Blade Runner. And that's okay. Most people are. The film has been debated for over 40 years. Is Deckard a replicant? Which cut is the correct one? But beneath all the spectacle, Blade Runner is full of quiet, unsettling moments that challenge how we feel. One of the most important things comes in Deckard's apartment, when Rachel sits at the piano, and the uneasy encounter that follows. Blade Runner is a slow burn. It's a film that people get lost in. It's neon and rain, smoke, steam, analog tech. All are so overwhelming that the themes often slip by unnoticed. Some viewers find it slow, even boring. Many start it and never finish. But if you stay with it, scenes like this reward you, because this is where the movie takes a breath. Rachel hesitates at Deckard's piano. She admits she didn't even know if she could play. Deckard doesn't rush her. He simply says, "You play beautifully." At this point, a different movie would fade to a kiss, then a bedroom, leaving us with the shorthand, "Man falls in love with a doll." But Blade Runner doesn't take that path. It turns left. Because Rachel isn't just a love interest, she's a doll, a construct, an experiment who's still learning what she is. Deckard's job isn't supposed to be falling for Rachel. He's supposed to retire her. And in case you were skimming, that means he's supposed to kill her. Like a product. He's a bounty hunter, not a savior. Earlier in the Tyrell office, he compared replicants to any other machine, a benefit or a hazard. If it's a benefit, it's not his problem. And yet, here he is, harboring one in his own apartment. The same replicant who saved his life when Leon nearly killed him. She's still marked for death. He's risking his career, his safety, everything, for a chance to feel something. The kiss that follows doesn't play like a romance. Deckard prompts Rachel like an AI, like he did when he was in the Voight-Kampff test. Only this time, he says, "Kiss me." He's instructing her in intimacy. Now for modern audiences, it can be deeply uncomfortable. And at the time, I'm sure it was uncomfortable then as well. And that's fair. But if you recoil, if you empathize with Rachel's hesitation, then the film has worked. It made you feel for a replicant. Feel for an artificial intelligence. This isn't clean or easy. It's messy, confusing, and human. I will say that the editing in the film does leave a little bit to be desired sometimes. One clear example is right after Leon shoots Holden in the very first scene, it's just a hard cut to the exterior of the city. Very abrupt, it was almost as if it was a jump cut. I personally hate that cut. And I have to admit, the editing here has a little bit of trouble as well. It cuts abruptly with no fade out to romance, and it withholds intimacy. And then there's the saxophone. The score by Vangelis is legendary, but in 1982, saxophone solos had a reputation for melodrama, even sleaze. Many felt it cheapened the moment. But maybe that's the point. Like Rachel herself, the saxophone feels borrowed, a cultural shorthand we recognize but don't fully trust. The scene becomes both romantic and off-putting, tender and artificial. What is also legendary about this film is the troubled production cycle that it had. This was Ridley Scott's first American production in a Hollywood setting, and there was some clashing that happened. And of course, the reality bleeds in. Harrison Ford, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, he was a seasoned actor. And he was teamed up with Sean Young, who was new, and their working relationship was strained, to say the least. And on screen, that friction is visible. Harrison Ford looks frustrated, and Sean Young looks uncertain, even overwhelmed. Ridley chose that take, raw, awkward, and unresolved. It's also worth noting that there was a longer, more polished scene that was filmed, but Scott and the editor Terry Rawlings, they decided to cut it. Just a quick note, if you take a look at the deleted scenes, the one that is titled I Want You, there's actually a more tender alternate take of that scene. Deckard is kinder to Rachel, and she seems to be more sympathetic. It's a little bit more sensual, and then it dissolves from that scene to the actual cityscape. I think it plays much better than the original cut. What they left us with is a jagged edge, unease. I would argue that this scene is a Voight-Kampff test for the audience. It becomes its own sequence of testing humanity. Rachel tests herself at the piano, Deckard tests her with his words, and the audience is tested by our empathy. Even the actors were tested by the tension of the shoot, as well as the crew. Every layer asks, do you feel something? Deckard should have retired Rachel, but instead, he let her in. He risked everything, not for duty, but for a connection. Not because it's perfect, but because it makes us wrestle with empathy. For a doll, for a machine, for something more human than human. The scene doesn't play smoothly. It's flawed, awkward, unresolved. But that's also why it matters. Blade Runner is not a story about machines that look like people. It's a story about the messy, imperfect spaces where humanity and imitation collide. Like the replicants themselves, the moment is conflicted, vulnerable. And that's why, more than 40 years later, people are still talking about it. What did you think about Blade Runner? Have you seen it? Have you seen the sequel, Blade Runner 2049? Let me know in the comments.